I will not submit to being told what my concerns should be. I'm an adult man who pays his taxes. I have a right to come up with my own hierarchy of concern. And at the very top is the destruction of my country, which I've lived in for 56 years. And I know that it's not better than it was, and it's not getting better than it was. And there are many reasons for that. One of them is this war, but there are many others. And so people say, well, I'm really concerned. Well, I'm really concerned too. I'm really concerned that the Prime Minister of Israel and his many cheerleaders in American media, including at the New York Times, if I can say, pushed the U.S. government into a war that hurts the United States. That's my concern. And I would say that's at least co-equal with anyone else's concerns. So that's the first thing I would say. Second, as the elders of Zion or whatever, I don't know what that is. I've heard references to it. It's like a czarist forgery or something. Look,
I guess I'm just wondering what the line is for you.
The line for me is the truth. What is actually happening?
Between criticism. I mean, this is, by the way, a very difficult line. I am in no means purporting to understand necessarily where it is. I'm curious for you where the line is between criticism of the state of Israel and how that could be perceived as feeding into anti-Semitism.
Well, it breaks my heart that it is perceived that way, and that's the product. That perception is the product of a decades-long effort to conflate anti-Semitism with any criticism of the secular government of Israel. Okay, so the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism lists 11 examples of anti-Semitism, and that's been adopted globally. 40 different governments have adopted it as their standard of what anti-Semitism is, and 2/3 of the examples are criticism of Israel. So, you know, I don't get to write these standards. I also don't have to abide by them. And I reject, as ludicrous, out of hand, the idea that the criticism of a secular government is the same as criticism of an entire ethnic group, many of whom do not support that secular government, many of whom reject that secular government, and a lot of those I know personally. So you're just not going to get me on board with the lie that criticism of Netanyahu is hatred of all Jews, because it's not. And I don't care how many times someone repeats that to me. I don't care. And by the way, I've lost friends over this, and I do grieve that. People who are totally convinced that criticism—
Is it just Bibi that you're against, or if there was a different government in Israel, it would be okay?
I'm against anything that hurts my country. Why wouldn't I be? I live here.
No, but I'm just curious, like if there's elections coming up and if Bibi gets kicked out, are you
I took my family on vacation there.
I'm just trying to
obviously,
understand.
I'm not against Israel. I never have been against. By the way, you can check the record. Before maybe 2.5 years ago, I don't think I ever— well, I certainly never criticized Israel, but I rarely even mentioned Israel. I could give you a long list of the things that I love about Israel, particularly about Jerusalem, which is one of my favorite cities. Jerusalem and Beirut, greatest cities in the world. It kills me to see them at the center of all of this. I think the second that we ban criticism of a foreign country, well, of course, we're not free at that point. We're slaves of that other country. You know, whatever you can't criticize is the force in charge. I don't think it's, by the way, good for global Jewry to have any of this at all. If you tell 350 million Americans that it's against the law, and it's very close to against the law at this point, it's against the law to criticize Israel, how does that help the perception? Does that feed anti-Semitism? I think it does. Not that it's my job to monitor or regulate this stuff, but I mean, just common sense would tell you that's not good. If you want to make the case on behalf of anything, any idea, including ones I disagree with, make your case. Tell me why it's a good idea. And we're falling out of that habit and instead trying to hurt people who disagree with us. And I just will always reject that. I guess I'm the liberal.